Hello and welcome back to a Kooky Corner of YouTube, where I will be talking you through a few different kinds of decorations for your Christmas tree or just generally for your house. And one of the ones that I'd like to talk about first of all, because it's probably one of the most fun and you can take out a lot of your angst when you are doing this. A lot of stabbing going on. Quite a bit of stabbing, but not stabbing nastily, stabbing with a purpose, because today I'm going to show you how I make these beautiful decorated baubles. Now this is a bigger one, obviously with lots of decoration on it, but obviously it's not got this little hanging thread there. But these are the things we're going to make. I'm going to do a simple plain one with little dots on, just to show you how it works, and then the world is your lobster. You can just go ahead and make whichever colours you like to go with your own decor, and then just add in bits and glitz. I obviously, you know I'm a magpie, so I always have little bits of glitz on mine when they're finished. This one isn't quite finished, but I just thought I'd show you how it looks. I've got a couple more to show you in a moment, but because I've added something into them, they're just drying off at the minute, so I'll show you those later on in the video. So first of all, let's have a look at what we're going to need. First thing is a polystyrene ball. You can get these in packs on Amazon, which is where I got mine from. This is a 6 centimetre diameter ball. Obviously this one was a much larger one. I think this was an 8 or a 9 maybe. But yes, you can get these in varying sizes. I suggest you don't go any lower than a 5 or a 6, simply because well, it's kind of like a nice bauble size, and once it's got its layer of wool over it, it will be the perfect size to decorate your tree. So without further ado, I will show you all the other things that we require. Okay, so most importantly for this project, you're going to need some wool. Wool tops or carded wool. If you go for the wool tops, which is generally a merino wool, I would have to say, when you buy it from places online, then you might have to just give it a quick carding session with these two beautiful things. These are not professional wool carders. You can actually buy a set of those which are nice, but because I don't use them intensively, I get away with these, and these are dog grooming tools which work equally as well. So this big boy here was from Pets at Home, and it's just like it's a ball pin slicker basically. Ideal for delicate and sensitive skin, so it will work perfectly with our wool. And this one I do believe I got offline, which is just a medium curved firm slicker, which is this one here, which is more of a flat surface, which is quite handy. So yeah, if you have a dog, you may have these already. Make sure they're clean. These have never been used on an animal, can I just say. These are only ever used for wool. So there's what you might need if you've got something that's a little softer of a wool. Some of the wool I have is a Corriedale, which is more of a, it's not rough wool, but it's not as fine and smooth as the merino, if you can see how fine and smooth that is. Let me see if I've got some Corriedale here to show you. It's not a vast difference, but it's just kind of, I don't know, it's got more of a rougher texture to it. If you can see. If you can see from that, you can see there's more finer fibres. It's not impossible to use the merino. In fact, I've made quite a few with merino because I didn't have Corriedale. But if you have a choice and you haven't got any, buy the Corriedale. I get mine from a place called World of Wool, and they have things called Woolly Wednesdays where they have special offers on some of these things, and I have literally just put an order in for some different colours of Corriedale that I haven't got. So check those out. There are many other places you can buy your wool from, so don't just take that brand as a place, but I like it. I think they're very good service that they give is exceptional, and the packaging is lovely as well, can I just say. Anyway, let's go further on. Okay, so along with your wool, you will also need needle felting tools. Now, I have a variety, you might know. This is a Clover pen style needle felting tool. It has 3 needle felting needles inside it. You can get replacements for those as well. This one is also a Clover. This has got like a little stabby action tool to it. It's quite handy for when you're doing the bases of things, and also for when you're doing the base colour of your bauble, because this one has 5. Is it 5 needles? Can't count them. Yeah, 5. So you've got a 5, a 3. If you've got neither of those and you just got one of these, this also works as well. It will just take you a little bit longer. So this is just a single needle. So you can see that, you can see the barbs going down there. That's the bit that felts the wool. So that will work also, and also good for details. So any of those will work fine. Also any other needle felting tools that you can get wooden handled ones, you can get handles where you can just slot in the needles. I've got all of those, but these are the ones that I find work best for me. So you have your bauble, you have your pet slickers or your wool carders, whatever you want to call them. You have your wool, and we're ready to roll. So the first thing, let me clear some out of the way. What colour shall I do as a background? Let's go with this beautiful purple colour. It's rather pretty, and it will go along with the other 2 that I've already done, and I'll show you those later. When you want to get off a piece of wool from this sliver, it comes like a long sliver of wool. When you want to actually get a piece off, don't cut it with scissors. The reason why I don't use scissors is that if you cut it, it will leave like a blunt edge, whereas naturally wool fibre will come apart if you pull it in the correct way, which I'm just going to show you. So I tend to hold it down. I think about that's probably enough for me to cover a bauble. You can always take more off and add it in if you needed to. So hold it down. I get it where I need it to break, and I am not pulling hard. It's not going to work now, is it? Let me separate it out a bit further. Probably didn't separate it out. Literally, you just... Why does this never work? It worked perfectly when I wasn't wanting it to. I'm kind of holding it and I'm just gently pulling. If you pull too hard, then it will not separate. It clings onto each other. It's got little barbs that hold onto each other. If you do it, I'll do it again with this one, just to show you it wasn't a fluke. Hold it down, hold it firmly, but then just gently pull. You just gently pull it. It's like, you know, when you're in a seat belt and you jerk forward, it holds you in place. It's a bit like that. If you do it gently, it separates out, and you don't have any of those blunt edges you get with scissors. That's what I'm trying to say. So onto this. I think these fibres, as they are, because I believe this is a merino blend, they're a bit too smooth for me. So what I want to do now is show you how to use these carders. Now, I am no expert, believe me, literally. I just gung-ho everything. But you just want to rough up your wool. That's what you need to do. So you've just got a nice bit of wool that's just been tangled and teased a bit, because if it's too smooth, it won't sit right. When you needle felt it, it'll just go in lines, and I've seen a lot of people wrap the wool around their egg without sort of giving it a bit of a going over first. It sounds awful, doesn't it? It sounds like Grant Mitchell from EastEnders. We're going to give it a bit of going over. So we have to give it a bit of going over and just mess up the fibres a bit, because this will give us a bit more of a better texture once we've covered our ball of wool. Okay, so we've got something going on there. I could keep going with this. I'm just, for the purposes of now, going to leave that. You just mess it around a bit until you're happy with the way it's messed up. You sit your little bauble into the nest of the wool that you've just messed. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. So into the nest, and then you wrap your fibres around it, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so it's all wrapped up. If you find that when you've needle felted it, you've either got too much, well, you can just literally pull bits off. If I can see, look here, I've got all this excess. You see, I'm pulling very lightly. It will just come off like that. So if I've got too much, I can do that. Conversely, if I haven't got enough, like if I needle felt and there's a gap there, if you can see where there's a little bit of white, all you have to do, once it's needle felted in, grab a little sliver, cover it over and pop it in. And because it's all messed up, there's not going to be any lines for you to cause a problem with. So we have our ball nested into the wool. Kind of wrap it around roughly so that you can see you've got enough coverage. I'm going to take my big 5 needle tool. Usually, if I am needle felting anything, I can't speak today, if I am needle felting anything, I will have a pad underneath to stop the needles from damaging a surface or myself, which is more important. Because this is a polystyrene ball and you're needle felting into it, there's no way that these needles are going to go any further. If you look at this, they can only go that far. So they're not going to go out the other end. And this is all we do. Make sure it's unlocked, because these have got a locked position. If it's locked, that won't move. Have to unlock it and that will go up and down. And literally, I'm going to make everything juggle up and down. Let me lift it off the table. You're just stabbing into your polystyrene ball. It's quite relaxing because this has got a guard on it as well. As long as you keep your fingers out of the way, you're not stabbing into your finger, then you're not going to cause any problems. It's not going to go through, so you literally can just spend some time going all over the ball and stabbing in with your needle felting needles. This is probably a good tool to use. Also this one, for this, because you're covering a bigger area, you will do it quicker if you're doing it with 5 needles instead of doing it with 1. It is possible to do it with 1 or 2, but the more needles you use, the quicker it's going to sort itself out and be smooth enough for you to add some decoration. So I'm going to go away now. Instead of making you watch me stab this 1,000 times, I'm going to go away, and I expect you to have a go as well. And then I'll come back and show you how I put on some different decorations. Okay, so I'm back with my ball. I'm just going to finish off here. I'm just checking over it now, places where it might just have a little bit showing through, maybe there. So I get a small sliver of my leftover wool, literally just lay it on top, stab it in. As I say, it's great for taking out your frustrations after a day. And sit down, have a cup of tea at the side, and stab away to your heart's content. And when it's kind of smooth, you've covered over any little patches, then we're ready to add in some decoration. Okay. Now as you can just run it between your hands if you want to just give it a quick smooth over to get rid of any of the little flyaway pieces. You could, if you've got a lot of pieces sticking up, just go back in with your needle felting needle or trim them off. That's fine. It's okay to use scissors at this point. So just trim off anything that might just be sticking up out of the way. But generally it's quite forgiving. It's quite a forgiving thing to do, and I don't think you can go wrong really. So decoration, I will show you. I've lost one. Oh, it's here, it ran away. This is one I made previously. So this is a pink one with little purple spots all over it, and I've added in some little dots of glitter glue. So that's one that I finished. And this is a yellow one. Oops, added a bit on there. Yellow one. with red and then gold glitter glue. I'll show you how to finish these off with this little top bit as well. So we just have to decide what colour we want to go with. So we're looking at this one. I quite like green with mine, so I will dig around in my wool stash and find a little green bit. Hopefully, she said. Aha, here we go. Do a slow pull, there we go. So this is my little sliver of green. There are two ways you can do this. If you've got little bits of wool, if you've got a few colours and you obviously just want to do coordinating colours, so make sure when you buy your wool that they all will go together. I love colour, so my tree is always a blaze of all the colours of the rainbow, literally. But you could just weigh it down to a few. You could go maybe a navy blue and a white or a silver, or you know, just something to go along with what you want as your Christmas decor. So on this occasion, with this technique, I'll show you a different one in a moment. You get a small piece of wool, you don't need a lot. You kind of just roughly get it together as a ball. It's going to be a bit harder for me standing up. I don't want to do it on the table because it rocks the camera and then you'll all feel seasick and then you won't thank me for that at all. You get it into the place you want it. Stab it in. Like you did with your base. God, I've got a bit there hanging around. Just get a bit woolly. It's always a bit woolly in my studio one way or another. Okay, so there's one. Obviously it's not a perfect circle, but who's perfect? Let's go with imperfectly perfect, shall we? It's an imperfectly perfect circle. Okay, so there's another little ball. Mind your fingers when you do that first jab. Once you've got a couple of jabs in there, you can kind of move it around a bit so you can just push it into position. And if you really want to go to town, you can get your little single needle and you can refine the edges just by doing one at a time if you want to be perfectly perfect. I, on the other hand, oh, not with that one, happy with my just jabbing it in. I do spend a lot more time on the different ones that I do, but obviously this is a simple one. I want to give you something that you can do quickly and simply. I would say that a good 10 minutes stabbing around the outside, 10 to 15 minutes, and you've got your base. And then these, it's literally seconds. So another one, grabbing a little green piece here, just gently rolling it into kind of shape. Excuse my fingers, I was painting earlier, so I've got bits of paint left over. Quick jab in, just making sure you've got all your bits together. So if you want to be perfectly perfect, grab your singular needle if you have one. If you don't like it, pull it out. It's as simple as that. If you don't like where it's gone or you've put it in the wrong position, until you've really felted it in, it's easy to pull away. So there we have it. That's that one. And you just go around, decorate how you want it to. Obviously on this one, again, I keep getting little bits of wool. Different sizes, add in some glitter glue, add in some sequins if you'd like to. I'll just show you another little technique that I have if you have any of this. This is also quite easy to get hold of. I know World of Wool has some of this. This is some that I had for some years. It was by a company called EFCO, E-F-C-O. I don't know whether they still do it or not. And this is what's known in the trade as pre-felt. And it comes in, it's like a felt sheet, but it's really soft. It's not properly felted. Basically, it's a stage of felting where it's pre-felt, so it's holding together, as you can see. It's holding together, but if you pull it, look, it comes apart, and that means it's not fully felted but pre-felted. And this is great to add on to your pieces. I've used pre-felt for these, so you can actually get a piece, and I will find a pair of scissors somewhere upon my person. Here we go. These are a bit big, but hey, we'll go with them. And you're literally just cutting out shapes. If you want to get really clever, you could iron on some freezer paper, some of the Reynolds freezer paper, or any other freezer paper that you might have. Draw your shape on, cut out your shape, pull off the freezer paper, and you have got perfect shapes to go on. So that could go on there, and you would just needle felt that in as usual. It also comes in many different colours, so you don't have to go with the ones that I've got here. It's quite varied. World of Wool, definitely. Obviously other places do it as well, so do a search in Google. But if you're buying some of the Corriedale wool that I suggested from World of Wool, have a look at their pre-felt as well, because then you could grab a few pieces of that and have a go to coordinate in with your thing. So that's two methods of adding in some detail. You can also cut out some felt shapes and try to needle felt them in. They may not felt as well as this. They definitely won't felt as well as the pre-felt or the actual slivers of wool that we have here, because it's already felted. So it's already got that clinging together. It's a finished deal. The other things you could do with it is to very carefully, I would say, you could place it on and sew around it, but then you might move some of the fibres that have already gone into your polystyrene ball. The other thing that you could do, my beautiful favourite, is the felt and foam tacky glue. So you could cut out a star maybe or something and stick that on with that, making sure that it's all around the edges, and that will dry clear and it won't show on your wool bauble. So there's the many different ways that you can add in. I'm just going to show you now how these beautiful things attach. They are called Bauble Hangers. These I got from Amazon a couple of years ago, and if you can see, they're like a little piece of wire with a little cap on top. You've probably seen these in your baubles that you buy from the shop. They literally go on the top and you position them inside your felt bauble. I'm going to put this one on now. I usually do this at the end. I've not quite finished this one obviously, but it just pushes in to the polystyrene. Now if you wanted to be super careful and make sure they don't come out, you could put some hot glue in there and hold it on. I, on the other hand, think that's quite stable because it's polystyrene, because it's not got any weight to it as such. That will hold in really nicely, and because it's angled that way, it's not going to pull out as easily as, you know, if you really want to pull it out, you can pull it out, but it's not going to pull out easily is what I'm saying. And for thread to hang, like on this one here, anything that you've got basically that will freely dangle. That sounded a bit weird, but yes, any thread that you've got that will let the bauble dangle without being obstructed by it is great. I've got some of this Perle thread that I use for my embroideries, so I've already got loads and loads of thread on hand. I could probably start a thread shop with the amount of thread I have. But that is what I use. You can get the Lurex thread as well, which is kind of like a gold or a silver if you wanted to do it that way, or just any wool or yarn that you've got handy. The thinner ones I find are better because they don't detract away from what you've got going on your bauble. So yeah, many different ways of making baubles, and then you can just hang them on your tree and say, I made that, to everybody who comes to visit. You might get a few orders, you never know. Yes, the baubles, as I said, I got from Amazon as a pack. I think they were a pack of 20 for 6 centimetre baubles. You can get different sizes. It's all up to you. And obviously, as much decoration as you want to add on, you could just leave them plain if you wanted to. Obviously, that's not my bag. I like to decorate, so I will always decorate things up. But it is literally down to your own taste. and how you want to do things. I will leave all the things I have used here in the description box. So have a very, very happy, Merry Christmas, and enjoy a little bit of therapeutic stabbing. Have a great day, and I will see you soon with another tutorial for something else for your Christmas tree or your decorations. Have a wonderful week. Bye, my lovelies.